Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my garden. If you're new here, my name is Kiera. Feel free to call me Q. And today we are going to be harvesting all of the fruit off of the two citrus trees behind me. This tree right here is what we think is a navel orange. We're very proud of what happened with this tree because we actually had to rehab this one. When we bought this house a year and some change ago, this tree didn't have a single piece of fruit on it, and it was like parts of it were dead, diseased, eaten up. It looked really bad. And so it didn't actually fruit the entire first year we were here. We randomly, in the middle of winter, found what looked like a navel orange. It wasn't even stuck to the tree anymore. It looks like someone could have thrown it in and left it. So we were hoping it was a navel orange and not like a grapefruit or something like that, just because we don't really love grapefruit. We fertilized it. We chopped all of the worst looking parts down. We really did a lot to baby this tree, and it is covered in fruit again, and so this has been really great. With this tree, the fruit is a little bit tart, but we're hoping that next year it'll be really, really good because there is some sweetness to it, and they have gotten better the longer we've left them. From our research, we found out that basically most citrus is ready when it starts falling to the ground, and that's what's happening here. So we have had, fruit fall into the ground for a while now. You can see some of it is moldy, and we've just been trying to give this tree as much time as possible to get sweet, but we need to clean all this up. This is pretty gross. And then there's even, this one still hanging onto the tree. That's definitely got to go. And then this tree right here is a clementine tree. It's basically like cuties that you would get at the grocery store. And there's a ton of fruit on this one. We should have probably thinned both of these trees more than we did, but the fruit are kind of small. They are really good though. Some of them are a little bit tart, but for the most part these have been great, and we have been really enjoying just taking a few of these off at a time for fresh eating. So we decided today is the day. We're going to just take everything off of these two trees. We're going to come back at some point and prune them a little bit and stuff like that, just kind of take some stuff off the top and then fertilize the trees and all of that good stuff that comes afterwards. But for right now, we're going to take everything off. So like I mentioned, a friend actually told us how to know when our citrus was ready, and it's when it starts falling off of the tree. Ours actually started falling off at the beginning of February, and we were testing them one at a time through January and February, and the fruit was just really, really sour. It tasted more like Meyer lemons. They were good, and we could tell there was a sweetness underneath, but they were just super sour. And so we were pretty bummed about it at first, but we were planning to just harvest all the fruit anyway, and we were going to juice it and use it regardless. So if it was just kind of like a orangey lemonade, we were going to use all of it for that, or doing things like lemon bars and stuff like that. Anything where we would kind of use a sweet lemon, we were just going to do that and make the most of it. The other thing we were going to do was just do things where we could just like pack a bunch of sugar in, so things like orange jelly and like sauces for cooking and things like that. But life happened and we weren't able to actually harvest any of these at the beginning of February, and so this project took us just a few weeks to get to, and that actually ended up really working out in our favor. We tasted another one of these after this day, after we harvested them all, and they were so sweet. They were so good. And it was just such a great surprise after, the year we've had with these oranges and babying them and all of that. It was so good to bite into one and love it. There's actually an orange vendor that we go to at our local farmers market, and we wait all year for them. So it's like a very specific person, and we have tried to buy oranges from other people, and it's always sad compared to theirs. And so we don't buy from anyone else anymore, and we just wait for them. And now they actually don't go to the farmers market anymore, which is super sad. But that's another reason why I'm just so proud of this, is because these oranges, I mean, maybe I'm biased because they're the ones we grew, but to me, they are better than the other ones that we tried, and they're just as good as the ones we used to buy. All right, so that's all the fruit. The tree is empty now. And one cool thing is this tree is also already getting a lot of new growth on it. So you can see here the old leaves, and then we have all of these new little baby leaves coming in. They're so cute. and they're everywhere. So this is really good. This tree has been doing very, very well. And then this is our final orange harvest for the rest of the year. See if I can move this thing and get out of the mud. It's actually pretty heavy. Oh yeah. uh, I'm gonna guess that this is, what was my guess? 60 pounds? Yeah, I think this one's 60 pounds. Well, I said my guess was 60 pounds for like the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong. I'm terrible at guessing weights. I was totally wrong. This is heavy. All right, so now we're gonna do the cuties, and I have a basket here. We're gonna just put as many as we can fit in here, and then I have some like backup bowls too. I think more than anything, the reason that I'm so I keep saying proud, but I am, of this tree and what we did with it is because we didn't actually know how to rehab this tree. We had no idea what we were doing. We did a lot of research. We looked it up. We tried to figure out what we could do. There were some things we didn't have time to do that we planned on, but we did the best we could, and it really paid off for us big time. And that is just something that I love about gardening in general is, it doesn't always work out. I mean, in fact, I've killed things like this week, which is pretty sad. But when it does work out, when you have a situation like this, it just gives you so much confidence to try again. Like if you figured this out and it went well, maybe you can figure something else out. Or maybe it just gets a little bit better. Like for us, we were proud just to have oranges at all on this tree. And when we thought they were sour and, not sweet at all, we were thinking like, it's okay. It's still way better than what we had before, which was nothing, right? And so the fact that we ended up with just this amazing tree where the fruit was just perfect was such a huge blessing for us. And it wasn't easy. We had to be patient for a full year, not knowing what this tree even was. And if we wanted it, we still went through the steps of trying to rehab it and trying to make it healthy again. We didn't know if that was going to happen. And I'm so glad that we didn't immediately take it out because we had that conversation, right? Do we want to just like cut this tree down and replace it? But I'm so happy that we were patient. We decided to nurse it for a year, see what would happen, see what we could do. And now we have these amazing oranges that if we had actually taken this tree out and planted a new one, that might have seemed like the easy fix at the time. But, looking back on it, we would have had to wait multiple years for that new tree to catch up to what this one is now. And it's a tree that we actually wanted. So everything about this just really worked out in our favor. All right, so we have a very large basket of cuties here. Let me see if I can lift this. That's really heavy. I feel like this is 25 pounds, but again, I'm really bad at judging weights, so it could be like 15. I have no idea, but that feels like 25, 30 pounds to me. We decided to leave some of the fruit on the tree just because some of it is really small and we noticed some of it was actually still green a little bit. And that's the stuff that we really like eating fresh and just like snacking. And we basically get about, 5, 6 pounds of it at a time off of the tree, which we've already done a few times. And so we're just actually going to leave the rest of it on there and keep harvesting it as we go. All right, so now it's time to weigh all of this stuff. I have our little baby kitchen scale and a ton of bowls. This scale only goes to a certain weight, and so I might have to just kind of like weigh it until it basically won't take anymore and then add them all up at the end. I'm excited to see how much this actually ends up being. I don't know what it is about weighing harvests, but I really like this. The nerd in me is very happy. We actually keep a spreadsheet of everything that we grow in a season on it. Grams is what we weigh things in. So we track how many grams of each individual harvest. Like every time we go out, we have a calculator in there that converts it to pounds, because we're really interested in knowing how many pounds of each item that we grow. We're also always really curious to know what the cost of it would be if we had bought these things at the grocery store. So that would be like conventionally or also organically, like if we were buying all this stuff from the farmer's market. And I love just geeking out about those numbers and seeing what they are. And, you know, those prices and stuff have changed a lot over the past couple years, especially. And so it's just been really fascinating to track. Now, we are not at all at the point where our garden is saving us money on groceries, because we keep investing back into our garden. You know, last year it was building the garden. This year I didn't spend as much. It mostly just went to like seeds and some new seed starting supplies. But in the next couple years, we are hoping that eventually we'll get to that point. And honestly, with the, you know, inflation and rise of food costs, we see that happening pretty soon here. The other thing I'm just really excited about is all of the food we're going to make with this. So I was already planning to do, like I said, orange jelly, and we were going to do like orange bars in place of lemon bars. We were going to do some other sweets, like we like to make madeleines and things like that. And so it's going to be really great to put this in there. We're also going to do like orange chicken sauce and batch cook just a ton of it, and then freeze it in more like individual meal size containers, so that we can make just anytime we want to make orange chicken, or for us it's orange tofu. We would just go back in our freezer and pull one out, and it's super easy. It makes hosting so much easier when you can do kind of like base sauces like that. So if someone just ends up coming to visit us and they stay for dinner or lunch or whatever it is, it's that much easier for us to feed them a really good meal, and it gets to be something that we grew in our garden, which is what we're all about here. We've also just kind of already eaten pretty much our body weight in oranges, and we've been very happy about it. So it's been really nice. This is a good one for sure. Okay, so I got all of our results. Today, what we harvested from these cuties is 14.75 pounds, so 15 pounds. And the oranges from today were 57 pounds, which is pretty wild, and no wonder I was having trouble pulling that wagon up the hill. And counting what we harvested before, so like a few cuties here and there for snack eating, some oranges, mostly to test and see if they were ready. For the cuties, we had a total this year. Now, mind you, there's still some on the tree, but we had about 27 pounds of cuties total. And then for the oranges, it was 58 pounds because we only took a couple. And so all of that together is about 85 pounds of citrus. So when I'm thinking about what's still on that tree, it'll probably be pretty close to about 90 pounds total for the year. At this point, we have a lot of juicing in our future, which is exciting, and then we're going to make a bunch of stuff from the juice. So that's going to be really fun. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today as we harvested all of this morning. I feel like this was a really productive morning. I feel really good about it. I'm glad that we got one more thing checked off the list. And now it's just, you know, pruning those trees a little bit, fertilizing them, and then just making sure that they have what they need for another successful year. So if you have citrus trees also, I would love to know how you're using them. So are you just doing fresh eating? Are you juicing them? Are you using the juice for any different recipes? I'd love to hear all about it. Thank you so much for joining me today in my garden, and I will see you next time. Bye.